Hello, welcome to the weekly wind-up with myself, Emma Kirke. Community trust may be a term you're already familiar with, but can you accurately describe what they're responsible for and their involvement in the community? Today I'm joined by Craig Shepherd, who is here to tell us all about what a community trust does and how he's ended up with possibly one of the most varied and diverse jobs I've ever come across. Welcome to the show, Craig.
Hello, you okay?
So for anybody who doesn't really understand what a community trust does, what do you do?
Well, community trusts take all sorts of different forms. They're effectively just charities. Anybody can be a community trust, a foundation, or label the term charity. We are a community trust that works in the sports sector, but not just delivering sports.
Okay, so what do you deliver? What kind of things?
What do we deliver?
Yep.
Okay, so we do a lot with children and young people. We work with about 10,000 young people in the Wakefield district alone, and also venture into Barnsley as well, which is another few thousand, as well as some other pockets within Kirklees, as well as Wakefield district and some parts of Selby as well. So we are quite diverse, even though our name suggests that we would just work within the Wakefield district. That can range from coaching within schools. Yep. It might be holiday camps, it might be skill development sessions. Our association with Rugby League is obviously very prominent in some of the projects that we deliver, and we try to retain that across the board. So some of our projects might be related to mental health, for example. Right. We delivered a pilot project very recently called the Boot Room that was looking at males 18 plus, and using the power of classic rugby league games and sporting peers to deliver subtle mental fitness messages. Okay. So we retained the sporting element, but really it was about delivering some positive messages and coping mechanisms to males from all walks of life, but using the similarities between a sports person and what they have to go through and everyday life.
So is it a particular area of the communities that you're actually targeting?
No. We a lot of funding that's available is around areas of deprivation, but we would gladly go anywhere. We think that there are people everywhere that need opportunities, and just because you're from an area of deprivation doesn't mean that you're more likely to suffer from mental health or lack of physical activity. There are signs that there might be a few more people in those areas that are obese or overweight, but it doesn't necessarily mean that everybody that lives somewhere else that isn't deprived doesn't suffer from the same things. So our projects are very diverse, but some of the funding is quite often associated with areas of deprivation. Right. And high crime as well.
Okay, so within the Wakefield Trinity supporters, do you have access or do you target any of those areas? Yeah,
we do. I mean, obviously we've got about 5,000 on average supporters that come along to every game. So some of the projects we might look at alongside mental health might be men's weight management, female weight management. Yep. We've got a target audience there that it'd be stupid not to look at and to advertise and market to. And they also like to be associated with the Wakefield Trinity brand as well, so it's quite an easy win for us, whereas if we were to go to somewhere like Castleford, we might not have the uptake, despite there being probably an equal number of people that might want to access a programme.
You never know, Castleford Tigers might, their supporters might be on board.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think so.
So how, because you mentioned it's a charity, how do you fund it?
It's tough. It's a tough world. We are very much driven by grant applications. Usually these days there's probably 1 in 7 that are successful, but there's a lot of time and effort that goes into those writing those bids. So the hours and the weeks that you spend collating evidence, writing the bids, making sure they're factually correct, it can be quite demoralising when 6 out of 7 are likely to be rejected. And that can be for a number of reasons. Funding's drying up, so there might be a lot of applicants for a very small amount of money, and the organisation have to pick which ones are seemingly more deserving, and quite often they'll have a really strong field. So some people will naturally miss out that have really good positive projects, not just ourselves. So it is a tough world, but then we've got fundraising on the back of that, donations, sponsorships as well. So because we are associated with a sporting brand and a high level sporting brand, being part of a Super League team as their charitable arm, our programmes are very attractive to sponsorship. So you can almost, what you would pay probably 5 times as much for if you were to sponsor Wakefield Trinity, you can often get better value for money by associating with a community programme that's actually going to impact people better in the communities that are local. So for companies that are looking to sponsor, it's a great option and a more affordable option for them too.
Yeah. I know that you've done some interesting fundraising yourself. What's been the most kind of bizarre that you've done?
Most bizarre fundraising?
Yeah. I know you walked, didn't you, from Wakefield?
Yeah, that wasn't too bizarre though.
No.
Personally, and unassociated with the charity that I manage now, would have to be the skydive that I did about just over 7 years ago, in July 2011. That for me, I'm scared of heights. Don't like them at all. I think it's more the falling. But I struggle to climb up a ladder, let alone jump out of a plane from 15,000 feet in the air. So for me, that was a challenge, but it was a challenge that was worthwhile doing because of the cause it was for, which at the time was the Teenage Cancer Trust.
Okay, and how did that go?
Didn't go so well. It was the second skydive I'd actually done for charity. The first one I'd done for Cancer Research UK, which was on Wollongong Beach in Australia. And that was brilliant, absolutely loved it. So doing it again was a little bit easier. I was still white as a sheet before jumping out of the plane. But this time around, the landing didn't go so well. And fortunately, I'm here to tell the story and walk around. But at the time, the impact on landing crushed my L5 vertebrae, which then protruded slightly into my spinal canal. So temporarily, I was paralysed. But 3 weeks later, I'm okay. The bruising subsided, and I'm all right. Okay. I did have to learn to walk again because it wasn't necessarily that, the bruising's gone down, I can walk around. There was still some serious concerns that I had an unstable spine. They were talking about putting a cage around it to help support it better. And I was told to expect that I'd probably never walk again. So to be told that is quite,
It puts you off doing that as another charitable...
I'd never do it again. Even though I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the free fall, I enjoyed the first jump that I'd done, but I'd never do it again just for that simple reason.
Is that then why you're so keen on promoting the PDRL?
Yeah. I mean, we haven't touched on disability, have we? We do so many projects, it's difficult to mention them all because they're all as important as each other. But the Disability Rugby League project that we started in March this year, with the launch of the physical disability team that you play for.
Plug there.
Yeah, nice little plug. Yes, I mean, because I've lived it for a short period of time, I may have been in the same position as the guys that turn up and play. And if I'd have been in a wheelchair, I wouldn't have been able to play physical disability rugby league. I'd have had to have played wheelchair rugby. But there is that empathy surrounding the players that come along from all different walks of life, all different types of disabilities. And the one thing that pleases me the most about what we've set up and created is that it was completely unknown, but none of them really talk about their disabilities in open conversation unless they're really pushed to do that. And they've each got unique stories. And I think it's great that we've got a group of individuals who are all challenged that come together and play a sport that they've probably been told they'll never be able to play, and not talk about the challenges they each face. They just crack on and get on with it, until forced to speak about things. And that's when you really learn about them. You learn about what they've been through, what they go through on a daily basis and a weekly basis, and even down to training and how difficult that is for them. But the fact that they love it so much that they'll make the effort to do that. You're constantly changing lives through the projects that you do, and it's an amazing job.
Yeah.
And I get paid for what I do, but if I was wealthy enough not to, I'd still do what I do.
Yeah.
And I think
fantastic.
that's the main thing.
So if I'm not a business but I want to get involved somehow,
Yeah.
how can I help you?
Really, we prefer to speak to businesses about how they want to get involved, and that could be lots of different ways. It doesn't have to be monetary even. We survive on sponsorships, grants, donations, but in reality, a lot of our projects require volunteers. So if you're a business that can't afford to sponsor, but you've got a group of employees that would really like to give something back, donating their time paid as a business would not only be great brand exposure, but the employees would get something from that that's so rewarding that spending £5,000 with us as a charity, you wouldn't be able to put it into a value just by the time that they'd spend with us. And that could be across various different projects. It could even be a project aligned with who you are as a company. So it could be, let's say you're in the financial services, it could be something to do with helping people from areas of deprivation to manage their money a little bit better.
Yeah.
But you're using your volunteers and the skill set that your company have got in order to make a difference in people's lives. It could be something, and that's just, I've picked that one out of the air, but that could be something that could be worked with. And then of course, if you are looking to do some corporate social responsibility, then pick up the phone, have a chat about the projects that we do, or drop me an email, and we can talk about how we can tailor a bespoke programme around your company and tag you onto one of our existing projects if that's what you want to do.
Fantastic. So basically, anything that I can offer, you can utilise.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And it could be, you might be an IT company that wants to develop a website, or you want to add some value by keeping our website updated.
Yeah.
They are costs that we as a charity cannot afford.
Yeah.
And we're not a multinational. We operate with a turnover of about £150,000 a year.
Yeah.
We're a small charity by all accounts, but to impact on over 20,000 people within Yorkshire, with just 4 full-time employees and a bank of casuals and volunteers, is pretty impressive going.
Yeah.
So if any companies can get on board, whether it's volunteering or whether it's financially motivated, it doesn't matter to us. We'll make use of it.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for coming to talk to us today.
You're welcome.
I hope you have every success and it keeps going as it's going already.
Me too.
If you wish to discuss this or any other topic you see on KLTV, our contact details are on the screen. Thank you for watching. I'm Emma Kirke. Goodbye for now.